Hi, my name is PoeticSoul. I'm a spoken word poet from Lafayette, Louisiana. If you're not familiar with that term, stay tuned because we'll be talking more about it in just a few minutes. Today's lesson is called Creating During a Pandemic. Today, we're going to learn about poetry and spoken word. We'll talk about some tools you can use when you feel overwhelmed or sad or just need to get something out. All you need is a paper and a pencil, like the ones I have here. If you need a second to get these items, go ahead and pause the video, and we'll get started when you get back. This video is a part of Acadiana Center for the Arts online series Virtual Art Studio, where teaching artists present lessons in visual art, dance, music, and more that you can enjoy from anywhere. Ready? Great. Let's get started. Creating during a pandemic. Before we talk about terms, tell me, why do you write? Do you write a paper for class? Do you write notes to your friends? Wait, nobody does that anymore. I know you write text. But do you ever just write for yourself? To get your thoughts on paper? I can tell you why I write. I write to express my emotions. For example, when I'm angry, I write down the jumble of words in my head and use them as a word bank to write a poem. It helps me to calm down and stay focused on something other than being angry. Writing out your thoughts can be helpful. Okay, now let's get started with this creating during a pandemic. There are 3 important terms I would like for you to write down. The first term is spoken word poetry. You ever hear a person just break out saying something like, "A pen drops, 100 stories from the ground sent it at the top, but I can still hear the sounds. The world is so loud, but the ignorance is deafening. Silence all around got me wondering, is this meant for me?" Yes? Well, that's spoken word poetry. Spoken word poetry is creative writing and performance art working together to express some passion. The second term is couplet. I'm sure most of you have heard this term using your creative writing lessons. If not, that's okay. We'll learn together. A couplet is 2 successive lines of poetry that rhyme. Basically, it's 2 lines back to back that rhyme. For example, Rob was excited to go to the store. When he got home, he wanted some more. See what we did there? We rhymed more with store. Let's try one more. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. What words did we rhyme there? Right, trouble and bubble. Okay, that's great. Are you guys ready for our third term? Okay, our third term is pandemic. A pandemic means disease prevalent over the whole country or world. A global pandemic, for example, is COVID-19, a disease that is affecting the entire world. Let's take a second to make sure everyone has each term written down. Now, let's have a real talk conversation. I'll go first, then you guys can talk with your teacher, your classmates, or whoever wants to join in with you. Try your best to answer each question honestly and be descriptive. You ready for the first question? Okay, great. First question. What was your biggest fear during quarantine? My biggest fear was not getting to see my grandma again. I really missed her and she was getting older. I couldn't leave the house because my immune system was weak. I was really scared. Second question. How did you cope with your anxiety during quarantine? Did you learn something new? I started a YouTube channel. Nothing major, just a music channel. Third question. What's something you hope will happen next year? I want to go to Jamaica. I need a vacation. I've heard Jamaica is nice. Now your turn. Take 5 minutes, have a real talk conversation amongst yourselves. If you're watching this video alone, have a conversation with yourself. When you come back, we'll start our exercises, okay? Okay, I hope you had an interesting conversation. I'm sure you all gave great answers. I wanted to get our brains moving for our brainstorming exercises. Brainstorming is a fun way to collect ideas for our poetry. Let's go back to our term, pandemic, a disease impacting an entire country or world. I want you to imagine we are back in quarantine because more people have become infected with a serious strain of COVID-19 and we are confined to our current location. Where you are now is where you must stay. You only have the items around you to survive. Next, I want you to pick 5 items and write them down on your paper. Remember, you can only use what's around you. My items are pencil, cup, laptop, shoe, and water bottle. Do you have your items? Awesome. Remember, we are in quarantine during a global pandemic. These are stressful times. We must find alternate uses for the items we have to help us. Think of 5 different ways to use each of your items. For example, what are ways we can use a pencil other than writing? I can make beats. I can pencil fight. I can make a hole in something. I can use it to prop something up. Or if I had a paper, I can use that to stand it up. I can use it to roll something flat. Write down each of your uses. We'll use them later. And then take 5 minutes, challenge yourself to come up with unique ideas for each of them. If you feel overwhelmed, remember to take a deep breath. It will help you refresh your ideas. Ready? Okay, you ready? I'm sure you guys had a lot of fun coming up with different uses for your items. Here's another one of mine. Cup. Can be a telephone, tie a string to it, tie another cup to it, and talk to another person. It can be a pencil holder. It could be a cell phone holder. It could be a worm carrier. Can even catch bugs. Pretty cool examples, right? Now, for the next part of our lesson, we are going to write a poem using couplets. If your anxiety jumped through the roof, that's okay. Remember, we are in a global pandemic trapped in a room. These are stressful times. But seriously, it's no worries if you're nervous. Let's go back to our definitions. Couplets. 2 successive lines of poetry that rhyme. 2 lines that are back to back that rhyme. I saw a cat. He caught a rat. Get it? Also, now we have a word bank. The words you came up with in our brainstorming exercise, you can use them to help you write your poem. You can even add words to your word bank if that helps. Now it's time for a writing prompt. Write a poem using 5 couplets describing how you deal with witnessing a global pandemic. What do you hope for once it's over? I want you guys to really think about how you cope with dealing with this global pandemic. What are some issues that you have? What are some things that make you happy about being in the pandemic? Write about your feelings. That should be pretty easy. 5 couplets, 10 lines. You can do more if you like. Our goal is to express the anxiety we have built up due to this global pandemic. Let's take a few moments and write it out. All right, guys, that concludes our lesson for today. I hope you were able to express your anxieties and have some fun writing poetry. Remember these exercises next time you're feeling stressed or sad or even really excited. You can use writing to express all of your emotions. Thanks for creating with us. Be sure to come back next week for our new virtual art studio.